Thanks for joining me in this wonderful moment, that we share together. And so today the theme of the show episode came to me as "Don't Push the River." That was actually, it's funny because that was I studied Gestalt psychotherapy, and that was a book. I can't remember the lady's name. I actually never read the book, but I liked the title of it, "Don't Push the River." And I thought it was what I woke up with this morning. That was in my mind, don't push the river. Because everything's given. That's the beautiful thing. It's not of us. And so I think this is like a follow-up from, I did a talk on the movie The Matrix, which was, some people might say it was full on. It's quite direct. And so I thought it's important that everything gets shared. And I think that's why this theme is coming along, is don't push the river, because I think that talk can be sort of taken like as if you've got to do something, or there's some sort of pressure underneath it, and that's got nothing to do with what I was sharing in that talk whatsoever. And that's what the ego wants to do. The ego wants to make this ride difficult. That's the only thing that's making this journey difficult. And that's a wonderful thing to be able to see that. And so that's why I love this theme of don't push the river, because we truly can be carried along. It's only when we want to get in the way and think that we know something, or that we even know the way. And often we're actually rowing against the river, which is really, really difficult. And that's what the ego wants us to do. It wants us to live in that way, with this struggle. And it doesn't want you just to gently be carried down the stream in a very, very beautiful way. And it will misunderstand what the Course is teaching, because the Course is uncompromising, and it's the dismantling of the ego. And so the ego's going to reject it at any time that it can. And when it can get into you and take you over again, it's going to try and pull you away from your real self. And it's all form-based. It's all form-based fear. It's all related to being a body. And in this time-space continuum. And that's what it always keeps reverting back to. Believing that this world holds safety for you. And it doesn't. And that's hard to hear for an ego. plain and simple. But underneath all of that is the river. Don't push the river. And that's the flow. That's the grace that is carrying us along, and has always carried us along, and will always carry us along, and will always be there, and never ends. And yet somehow that's what we've forgotten. And so when we have a direct talk, it's like we feel that it's a hit to the ego. But this pathway is direct, it's very direct. All real spiritual pathways are going to be direct, and you are going to take hits along the way. And as I shared in the statement that I wrote up for this talk, there's obstacles in the way. And the thing is you believe that you're going to get rid of the obstacles, and that's what I've believed, that somehow I've got to figure it out. But in actual fact, I don't know where the river leads, and I don't know what the obstacles are, but the Spirit does. The truth knows exactly what the unravelling is. And so we have to trust in that. That's what I'm trusting in. And what I've actually seen over these past weeks or whatever is it's actually not as hard as I thought so far on all of this unraveling. I thought, is this it? I'm starting to feel more joyful, and I don't feel like the lessons have been that difficult. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There has been times, but it's nothing that's really stretched me to the limit. That's for sure. I can see that it was my resistance. I can see that I was resisting certain things, but it's never been that hard. And I always thought it was going to be a lot harder than this. And I was like ready for the fight. And I thought that's what I had to do. And that has sort of taken me a certain amount of the way, is the push of wanting it. But the push doesn't actually take you there anyway. It's still egoic. So that's what you can hear from the Matrix talk that I did. It can sound like, oh God, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to make the steps. And yeah, you will when you're ready. When you say yes, everything will be given. That's the whole point. It's saying no is the difficulty. That's where all the difficulty